Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables that nothing but omnipotence can break. A Union major wrote those words to his wife by lamplight in a camp outside Washington on July 14, 1861. 7 days later, he was dead, mortally wounded at Bull Run. He never mailed the letter. It was found in his trunk. This is it, read in full, every word his own. His name was Sullivan Ballou. He had been orphaned as a boy. He lost both his parents young, and he had climbed anyway. Brown University, the law. And by his early 30s, Speaker of the Rhode Island House, he had married Sarah Hart Shumway, and they had 2 little sons, Edgar and William, whom he called Willie. When the war came, Ballou did not have to go. He was a man with a family and a future. He went anyway. In June of 1861, he was made a major in the 2nd Rhode Island, camped at Camp Clark outside the capital, waiting for the order to march south. On the 14th, that order felt close by lamplight. With the camp asleep around him, Sullivan Ballou wrote the letter he feared might be his last. Here it is, in full, from the beginning. My very dear wife, indications are very strong that we shall move in a few days, perhaps tomorrow. Lest I should not be able to write you again, I feel impelled to write a few lines that may fall under your eye when I shall be no more. Our movement may be one of a few days' duration and full of pleasure, and it may be one of severe conflict and death to me. Not my will, but thine, O God, be done. If it is necessary that I should fall on the battlefield for my country, I am ready. I have no misgivings about or lack of confidence in the cause in which I am engaged, and my courage does not halt or falter. I know how strongly American civilization now leans upon the triumph of government, and how great a debt we owe to those who went before us through the blood and suffering of the Revolution. And I am willing, perfectly willing, to lay down all my joys in this life to help maintain this government and to pay that debt. But my dear wife, when I know that with my own joys I lay down nearly all of yours and replace them in this life with care and sorrows, when, after having eaten for long years the bitter fruit of orphanage myself, I must offer it as their only sustenance to my dear little children, is it weak or dishonorable, while the banner of my purpose floats calmly and proudly in the breeze, that my unbounded love for you, my darling wife and children, should struggle in fierce, though useless contest with my love of country? I cannot describe to you my feelings on this calm summer night when 2,000 men are sleeping around me, many of them enjoying the last, perhaps before that, of death, and I, suspicious that death is creeping behind me with his fatal dart, am communing with God, my country, and thee. I have sought most closely and diligently, and often in my breast, for a wrong motive in this hazarding the happiness of those I loved, and I could not find one. A pure love of my country and of the principles I have often advocated before the people, and the name of honor that I love more than I fear death, have called upon me, and I have obeyed. Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables that nothing but omnipotence can break, and yet my love of country comes over me like a strong wind and bears me irresistibly on with all those chains to the battlefield. The memories of all the blissful moments I have spent with you come crowding over me, and I feel most deeply grateful to God and you that I have enjoyed them so long, and how hard it is for me to give them up and burn to ashes the hopes of future years when, God willing, we might still have lived and loved together and seen our boys grow up to honorable manhood around us. I know I have but few claims upon divine providence, but something whispers to me, perhaps it is the wafted prayer of my little Edgar, that I shall return to my loved ones unharmed. If I do not, my dear Sarah, never forget how much I love you, nor that, when my last breath escapes me on the battlefield, it will whisper your name. Forgive my many faults and the many pains I have caused you. How thoughtless, how foolish I have oftentimes been. How gladly would I wash out with my tears every little spot upon your happiness, and struggle with all the misfortune of this world, to shield you and my children from harm. But I cannot. I must watch you from the spirit land and hover near you, while you buffet the storms with your precious little freight, and wait with sad patience till we meet to part no more. But, oh Sarah, if the dead can come back to this earth and flit unseen around those they loved, I shall always be near you in the garish day and the darkest night, amidst your happiest scenes and gloomiest hours, always, always, and, if the soft breeze fans your cheek, it shall be my breath, or the cool air cools your throbbing temples, it shall be my spirit passing by. Sarah, do not mourn me, dear. Think I am gone, and wait for me, for we shall meet again. As for my little boys, they will grow as I have done, and never know a father's love and care. Little Willie is too young to remember me long, and my blue-eyed Edgar will keep my frolics with him among the dimmest memories of his childhood. Sarah, I have unlimited confidence in your maternal care and your development of their characters. Tell my two mothers I call God's blessing upon them. Oh, Sarah, I wait for you there. Come to me and lead thither my children, Sullivan. He never mailed it. 1 week later, on July 21st, the 2nd Rhode Island went into the first great battle of the war at Bull Run. A cannon shot killed Ballou's horse and tore away his right leg. They carried him from the field to a makeshift hospital in a little church at Sudley, and there what remained of the leg was amputated. Then the Union Army broke and retreated and left its wounded behind. Sullivan Ballou died of his wounds about a week after he wrote his letter, in late July, in a field hospital in enemy hands. The exact day was never certainly recorded. There was no longer anyone on his own side to write it down. The letter he never sent was found among his things. When Governor William Sprague traveled down to Virginia to bring home Rhode Island's dead, Ballou's words came back with them and were delivered at last to Sarah. She was 24 years old. She never remarried. She lived more than 50 years more, and when she died, she was buried beside him. One honest note. No letter in Sullivan Ballou's own hand is known to survive, and scholars still debate how much of this text is truly his. What you have heard is preserved in period copies held by the Rhode Island Historical Society, and we have read it here in full, unabridged, including the closing lines about his boys that are so often left out. Last week, another young man, Watson Squire, wrote his mother a goodbye before a night he was sure he would not survive. He survived. He lived to be 88. Sullivan Ballou wrote his goodbye, hoping to come home. He did not. The same act. The opposite fate. One of them was wrong, one of them was right, and neither knew which the night he wrote. Letters of America Archive, primary source history, read aloud. Every word of Sullivan Ballou's letter is his own, preserved in the archive and read here in full. Nothing added. This archive is kept alive one voice at a time. If Sullivan Ballou's voice meant something to you, do 3 small things. Subscribe. So the next letter finds you. Follow along on Facebook and wherever you listen. And if you want to help this work continue, the sourcing, the reading, the keeping, you can support us on Patreon and tell me, whose voice from this war would you want to hear read aloud next? I build this list one name at a time, and the names come from you. Thank you for sitting with us.